Tonight, see how kids are learning more about theater.
Plus, incoming freshmen select their classes. Stay tuned, Troy. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for July 17, 2012. I am Caitlin Crow.
And I am Bailey Majors. Thank you for joining us this evening. This week, young actors and actresses are on Troy's campus spending a little time in the spotlight, all while learning some lessons to improve their acting skills. Deatra Montgomery explains.
Troy University's theater department hosts their 4th annual theater camp to kids in the community. This camp helps children learn more about the field of drama in a fun atmosphere.
This is creative dramatics, which is in the world of theater, but it covers stage crafts, creative movement, acting, and creative dramatics or creative drama is the term that we in theater apply to theater for younger students, and it's non-competitive, and it's just really about exploration and play and imagination and concentration and things like that.
In the world of theater, everyone brings their own personality and attitude to the stage. This is the central theme that the department decided to make for this year's camp.
And this year's theme is be, so we are going to be all sorts of different things. We can be happy, be sad, be groovy, be funky, but we can also be a tiger. We can also be a ballerina. But really, at the end of the day, what we're trying to drive home is be you, be who you are. And a lot of them, this is where they get to come and be just what they want to be.
Though this camp focuses on the children and teaching them everything about theater, this camp also holds a learning environment for the student teachers.
This is a chance for them to practice planning and implementing these different educational objectives, and they have to get here with real kids, not textbook kids, real kids in a real room with real activities. So it gives them a great, just quick 5-day experience to try some of their ideas. That's an incredibly important aspect of our camp.
So with this camp going on all week, students and kids have an opportunity to be themselves. Deatra Montgomery, Troy TrojanVision News.
There will be a showcase to wrap up the summer spotlight this Thursday night at 7 o'clock in the Trojan Center Theater.
Most students have already registered by this time, but as Danielle Percival shows us, for incoming freshmen, their first chance to get registered for classes comes at Impact.
After 2 days of games, fun, making friends, and becoming familiar with Troy's campus, the final step for incoming freshmen at Impact is registration. And the Impact leaders help each student design their schedule, but to do so, they had to have some training of their own.
The Impact leaders have 2 weeks of grueling training, and they have to sit in a room for a really long time and learn about each college, and so I think that they're highly sufficiently trained.
But the process doesn't stop with the Impact leaders. Students are then directed to the library to complete their process and go through a little training of their own.
When they go to the library, they learn how to use WebExpress, because in the fall and the upcoming semesters, they'll put their new schedules in on WebExpress, so they're learning how to use it there.
For students waiting to get registered, there were mixed emotions.
Kind of anxious, like am I going to get good classes, good professors?
I mean, it's kind of boring, but you get to talk with all the friends you made and all, and make sure you can get their numbers and stuff to keep in touch with them when school starts, so it's not too bad.
At this point, I'm just sleepy. I'm just ready to go, but I do want to make sure that my classes are in order, because I might be tired now and get up here and be excited and nothing's correct, so it's very important and I'm anxious.
With registration being the final step of Impact, do these students now feel like they're about to step into the college life?
I think it felt like that once I woke up in my dorm this morning. So, I mean, it just added to the process.
It doesn't really hit you until you come to Impact. At the end of the summer, it just feels like you're going to start back at high school, but registering for classes and all at Impact it feels a little different now.
Danielle Percival, Troy TrojanVision News.
There are 2 more freshman Impact sessions scheduled for the summer. Fall semester begins on August 15th.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Tuscaloosa, people say the gunman who opened fire on a crowded bar is a 44-year-old Alabama man. Tuscaloosa police say Nathan Ben Wilkins turned himself in today several hours after the shooting at a bar near the University of Alabama's campus. Authorities say 17 people were injured in the shooting.
And in Birmingham, one of 3 men who pleaded guilty to arson in a series of 2006 rural Alabama church fires has been granted an early release from prison. Bibb County Circuit Judge Marvin Wiggins ordered the release of 25-year-old Russell DeBusk. DeBusk was convicted of setting fires at 5 Bibb County churches. He was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison and to a 15-year sentence.
And in Montgomery, a federal judge has sentenced 3 men who pleaded guilty in an Alabama Statehouse bribery scheme to several years in federal prison. U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson sentenced bingo developer Ronnie Gilley to nearly 7 years in prison, lobbyist Jared Massey to more than 5 years in prison, and former state representative Terry Spicer of Elba to almost 5 years in prison.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the USA basketball team is gearing up for the start of the Olympics. Dustin Carroll will be in next with sports for all the details.
But first, President Obama fights back against Mitt Romney's attacks. We'll have more on that story after the break.
Coming up, Mitt Romney pushes back against President Obama's attacks.
When you're finished with your food or beverage cartons, toss it in the recycling bin. Because every carton is recyclable and can be turned into useful paper products. Put your carton in the bin with your other recyclables and let them start a new life. When the contents are gone, let the carton live on. Recycle your cartons.
At the heart of what we do in the College of Business is care for the students.
We feel like the students are our most important assets.
I have never been anywhere where I've known so many students on first-name basis.
What we try to do at Troy University is provide an experience to students that not only provide the curriculum that allows them to be successful in the business world, but we also try to expand their horizons to reach greater opportunities that maybe they didn't think they were capable of before.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Caitlin Crow at the Global News Desk. Caitlin.
Thanks, Bailey. Mitt Romney worked to get the upper hand on President Obama, launching a new line of attacks in a critical swing state. For days, the president has been hammering Romney's business record, and today was no different. Danielle Nottingham has more from Washington.
Mitt Romney fired up supporters at a campaign stop outside Pittsburgh, working to use the president's words against him.
President Obama attacks success, and therefore under President Obama we have less success, and I will change that.
Romney ramped up his own attack, telling the crowd President Obama funneled federal grants and loan guarantees to alternative energy companies that belong to big Democratic supporters and donors.
That kind of crony capitalism does not create jobs, and it does not create jobs here.
Romney is working to get back on the offensive after days of attacks from President Obama on Romney's business record. Tuesday, the president traveled deep into GOP territory.
Hello, Texas.
To target some of the country's wealthiest donors and his Latino and gay supporters. At a fundraising stop in San Antonio, he again pointed to Romney's time as CEO of Bain Capital.
I don't want pioneers of outsourcing in the White House. I want somebody who believes in insourcing. Let's bring those jobs back home.
The president argued that his opponent believes prosperity comes from the top down.
I believe in fighting on behalf of working families and giving them opportunity.
The Obama campaign also followed Romney to Pennsylvania with a one-day TV ad, slamming the former governor's refusal to release more than 2 years of his personal tax returns. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Washington.
British lawmakers are grilling a security chief about why his company failed to recruit enough officers to guard London Olympic venues. The government has called in 3,500 more soldiers and police to fill the gaps. British authorities are also getting help from the world's largest international police organization to guard against a terror attack on the Games. Monica Villamizar reports from France.
There will be unprecedented security when the Olympics get underway in London. And the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, will be keeping an eye out for trouble.
The biggest threat people face is the possibility that there's some unknown trained terrorist who gets on the UK soil and is able to target an Olympic venue or Olympic athletes or Olympic spectators.
Based in Lyon, France, the organization gathers intelligence for 190 member countries. Police departments worldwide rely on Interpol's database of fingerprints, photos, and most wanted people. We were given a first-hand look at the Situation Room inside the headquarters.
These people are compiling databases on fugitives and terror suspects who shouldn't cross borders. They're also keeping track of lost passports and making sure that they haven't fallen into the wrong hands.
The staff monitors events around the world and issues alerts. They work with local police to prevent criminals from getting on airplanes or crossing borders. American Ronald Noble is the head of Interpol. He says he'll work closely with British authorities to make sure they know who is out there.
We have a major event support team that will help identify people who are non-nationals about whom the UK might not know anything.
And armed with Interpol's wealth of information, authorities policing the Games hope to keep the upper hand against anyone who tries to cause trouble. Monica Villamizar, CBS News, Lyon, France.
A new treatment is showing promise in stopping the progression of Alzheimer's disease. 4 patients who were given immune therapy intravenously have seen their disease stabilize for at least 3 years. Randall Pinkston reports from New York.
71-year-old Joyce Williams suffers from dementia.
She would maybe forget some things that she ordinarily would remember, and there might have been a little bit of confusion about things.
She took part in a small study where researchers gave her an antibody treatment called Gamagard IVIG. The results, presented at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, showed she and 3 other patients saw no decline in their memory, thinking skills, or daily functioning.
Those who got the most effective dose in the initial study were effectively unchanged after 3 years. Which is an unexpected and happy result.
Gamagard IVIG is given intravenously every 2 weeks. It targets amyloid, the protein that forms plaque on the brain.
Right now, there are no FDA-approved drugs to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. Gamagard IVIG is one of 3 antibody tests currently underway.
If these 3 trials are successful, it will certainly change the course of future research and, I think, clinical practice.
Joyce Williams continues treatment even though she is no longer in the study.
I'd say it's been a success. I don't expect her to revert back toward normal, but she has not gone downhill rapidly.
Experts say her case is encouraging, but they won't know if the treatment is really effective until the results of a larger trial come out next year. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.